Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be showing you how to get your e-learning module on the internet without an LMS. I've had a handful of people ask me over the last few weeks, how do I get my modules online so that people can see them in my portfolio? And I think it's very important to be able to do that without needing an LMS. Now, the thing to remember here is that your e-learning modules are just little websites, right? So they can sit on a web server just like any other site. All you need is a web server or web host like GoDaddy or SiteGrounds or any web host service that you choose. An FTP tool, unless you want to spend forever dragging and dropping files, and obviously Storyline. So first, let's start out by publishing our file. Publish. I'm going to publish it as HTML5, and this will do most of the work for me. So I'm going to change my name here, and I'm going to publish it to my desktop just for brevity. The reason I'm showing you this is that there is an option to directly upload via FTP within Articulate 360. I'm going to be honest, I've never tried to use it, but I'm sure it works, and I'm sure you could set it up, so if somebody wants to, go for it. Anyways, I published my project. Woohoo! Great. Okay, so here's a file manager for my web server. If you use SiteGrounds, it will look like this. If you use another tool like GoDaddy, it could look completely different. Basically, all of the pages that I'm hosting sit on this web server, and I give them different names. My home page is here. I just label it home. Very nice, right? What I'm going to do is upload each e-learning module as a separate page, as a separate web page, and then link it to my portfolio page. Pretty simple, right? Now, what's important to notice for any page is that you need to have it organized like a web page. So your main HTML file has to be called index.html. I know I'm not being super technical here, but I'll show you why that matters in just a second. Basically, we're going to need to make a small change to the published Storyline file to get it to work in the web for the web server. So I'm just going to go back a level here. The reason I'm showing you this here is that when I actually connect through my FTP tool, it's going to show all of these files, but it's going to look a little bit different through that interface. Technically, you could upload directly here. You could just click upload, and then you could start dropping in your Storyline files, but if you have many files, this won't work because you have to do it individually. Ew, gross. We don't have all day. Anyways, so this is what my web server looks like. Home here, if I want to actually see this in the wild, I can go and start typing in the address, and here's my web page. Woo! As you can see, I've already gone through and done this a couple times to get my other samples on here. I click, here it is, and then here is the link to the other page that has the actual host, has the actual file on there. This is just an image, right? A screenshot. I click here, and then it's going to actually open the course as I published it. Super cool. Shout out to my company, Netcracker. They're amazing. So, next step. So we need an FTP tool. You can either figure out how to use Storylines. I already have an FTP tool that I use for all of my other web content on this server. So I'm just going to upload this like it's a good old-fashioned website, right? So let me open that up. You can get an FTP tool of your own. Just Google them. I'm not going to recommend a specific one because I don't want that kind of responsibility. But there are a few free ones out there. Just, search around. Alright, I've already logged into my website. I've already connected my FTP tool. If you need instructions on how to do that, you can Google it, or you can follow the instructions that come with the FTP tool that you download. To recap, we've published our storyline file as an HTML5 zipped up web thingy website, if you will. We have connected via an FTP tool to the server that we're using to host our website. And now we are going to use that FTP tool to mass upload all the files for our storyline content onto the web server. It's kind of like putting it in just a big folder, right? That's what's going to put it on the internet, though. So let me just find it. Here it is. Now, one thing I'm going to mention, with whatever web server you do, we have to make this look like a website, right? I'm not going to just upload the zipped up storyline file as is. So what I'm not going to do, this is a mistake that I made, is take the file itself, the shell basically, and upload just all that and dump it here. That will give us nothing. Okay. Well, you could, but then it would have like a really long name and the index wouldn't work quite right. Anyways, stay with me here. So what I'm going to do is create a new directory here that's going to have the name of the module that we want. So let's do that. New directory. I'll call that test module. Cool. So now we have this directory. It's empty. There's nothing in it. We're going to dump all of our storyline files in here. All right. So now let's grab them all and drag them over. And so what it's doing now is mass uploading my storyline files into that directory on my web server. So this is the part where we put everything on the internet. It can take a minute. Okay. Now, this would work, but if I go to actually launch this website right now, you're going to see that we have a small problem. So let me go to, and now you'll see that. See, look, now you see the test module. It's in our web server. It's there. It's all good to go. Okay. Let's test it out, right? Does this site work? So here is the site. And here's the directory. That's test module. Uh-oh. That's not looking good, is it? Okay. Let's see what we did wrong here. Test module. Got the name right. So if you notice, in any kind of web page you're trying to host, the web server and the browser, they need the main HTML document for the page to say index.html. Fortunately, we don't see index.html here, so we need to fix that, which I'll do here. So all I really have to do right here, I can do this in my FTP tool, I can do it here, it doesn't really matter. I'll just do it here. I'll rename this index.html. Index. Cool. All right. Now let's try this again. Shazam. Now it works. That's all we had to do. This is probably the most important detail of this video that will make you go, what? For hours. Anyways, now I have a full-blown Articulate module with a player and everything on the internet on a dirt cheap web server, no LMS needed. Obviously, it's like not going to track anything, but for the sake of your portfolio, all you need to do now is grab this URL and link it anywhere you want. So you can put it in your website, you can put it in an email, you're good to go. So hopefully this makes the issue of hosting your e-learning content cheaply a lot easier. Hopefully this was helpful, and if I missed anything, you're like, how'd you do that? And just send me a message or leave a comment. You know the drill.